Deanna Smith. Girl, I am so fuffin' excited to have you back at this kitchen table conversation. You gift to this world.
Me
Welcome
too,
back.
Meg. I'm excited to be here.
For any of you listeners that this is your first time hearing this beautiful spiritual teacher of mine, holistic energy guru, Deanna Smith, I want you to dial back. I'm going to link it in the show notes. She was at this kitchen table with us. Can you believe it was September of 22?
No, I can't.
I know, isn't time really fucked up? Like it
Been,
either,
yeah, like over a year. That's crazy. I feel like it was just yesterday.
isn't it? So I'm
Yeah.
going to link it in the show notes and we really talk about Deanna's story and we talk about how to hear yourself in a very busy world and the power of leading with intuition.
hmm
And in that last episode, you had ended talking about this new journey, this new offering that you were going on, which was hypnotherapy.
Yes, my favorite.
So, share with our listeners, what is hypnotherapy?
So, hypnotherapy is using the subconscious mind to change patterns, belief systems, habits, confidence levels,
Mm,
really spiritual work. And why it's so important is because the subconscious mind has been taking notes, it's been making agreements since we were young. So there's a lot of belief systems that we have that is really hard to break in this everyday world if we're not tapping into the subconscious mind because it's already written.
mm,
The story is already there. It already linked one thing to another thing, whether it's your eating habits or your your insecurities. It linked that, and it's hard to change them when you're just dealing with the conscious mind.
yeah. As someone who has struggled with therapy my entire life and feeling like I was fucked up because I didn't feel a connection to it,
Right.
what would your answer be to them? So I book you for hypnotherapy. They're like, I don't even like therapy. Talk to us about what's the process? Like, what does this look like? I come into your office or you do it virtually and you're like, okay, Meg, we're gonna start the session. What does that look like?
So the really cool thing is you get a taste of both worlds, like
Mm,
talk therapy and going into the subconscious mind. But the talk therapy, a lot of people that come to me, they already have some awareness, some kind of
hmm.
awareness, even if they haven't done much therapy of what's going on. So we spend about the first 40 minutes just talking, just getting to know one another, seeing if we can get to the root just in 40 minutes, not, a year long of talk therapy. So it's comfortable, it's vulnerable, it's a safe space to just talk. And then that's as much talking as you'll do. Further sessions, we go into meditation, into hypnosis, and that's where the change happens. That's where the magic happens, is in the subconscious mind when you're in that alternate state of mind.
You know what I love that you did with me? So, gang, I am a guru of this. The first time I did it with Deanna, as soon as that session ended, I turned to her and I was like, girl, you got to come on the podcast because this shit is so powerful. One of the things I loved when you were just talking about the 40 minutes of talk and then it goes into the hypnosis and the therapy of you really sitting there and allowing your mind to go where it needs to go and what needs to be shared with you is you said to me, what's your intention? And I just think that's such a powerful gift because 80% of us are just on autopilot. And when you stop to think, well, what do I want on the other end of it? How powerful that can be.
And I always ask that question. That's one of the main questions when we're sitting and we're having that discussion for, half hour, 40 minutes is what do you want out of this? If you come for 3 sessions or 6 sessions, however long it takes, by the time you walk out of my office, what do you want to see change? How do
Mm,
you want to feel when you walk out of here? Do you want to feel confident, lighter, freer? Um, what is your intention
yeah.
doing this practice? What do you want out of it?
So I was just talking to a girlfriend of mine this morning and I was sharing with her this conversation. And she had said to me something that I think is such a powerful question for so many of my type A'ers out there. And I was worried too. As a
Mm.
type A'er and someone who feels the need to control, how does this work for me?
Mm, that's such a great question because we're looking at how susceptible you are, how fast you can go into hypnosis and go into that state. And what I always tell my clients is no matter if you like the control and you're a type A personality, listen to my voice as long as you can until you don't hear it anymore.
Mm,
So just keep listening. Now, when a person, an individual loves the control, they'll start to sip, they'll start to go into that state and then pull themselves out because they want to hear what I'm saying. So they want to know what's going on. They feel like they have to hear it to get it. And I say
mm,
actually the opposite. So prepping them with that, saying that, you're allowed to just drift off. We want
mm.
your conscious mind to just drift off.
Yeah.
So prepping them with that, saying you don't have to hear what I'm saying. You just listen until you can't hear me anymore. And that has helped a lot of clients be like, oh my gosh, thank you for telling me that because my conscious mind automatically goes to, I want to listen. I need to do
Yeah.
it. Right. I need to do it perfect. I need to hear what you're saying and do everything you tell me to do in the script. And it's actually the opposite. We want you to drift off. We don't want you to hear what I'm saying because I
Yeah.
want you to get into that alternate state. And in that alternate state, you can be anywhere you want to be. I could be talking about you being in a forest and you're at the beach. That's fine.
Yeah.
Your conscious mind can go wherever it wants.
And I love that you started. I love that you infuse that because it was very freeing for me too because I am that same way. I kept thinking to myself, I'm not going to be able to get into hypnosis. I'm not going to be able to do this because I am such a control individual in type A. And here's what I want you to know, my friends, if it worked for me, it can work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to hear from you. I can speak from personal experience, but someone who lives this, what are some common denominators that you see from someone that has done hypnotherapy with you? Anything that you see on the other end of it universally that people come out of the session and they're like, damn, Deanna, this helped me with blah.
Mm. The main thing I see is anxiety, the
Mm,
anxiety and the overthinking is, no matter what it is, no matter what change you're trying to make, our minds are, like you said, always on autopilot, always on to the next thing. And I find that a lot of my clients, even after the first session, will text me and be like, I like didn't worry about what I normally do, or I was able to go from place A to place B without overthinking it.
yeah.
And I was able to just kind of let things come the way that they're supposed to and let things be and live in the flow more instead of controlling every aspect and having that anxiety and that worry and that fear. That starts to subside no matter what you're working on because the effects of hypnosis last from 3 to 5 days after your first session, which is
Mm,
why I have my clients come in every week. So after those 5 days, maybe you start feeling a little tight again, you need a second session, you come back in. But for
mm,
that like, first week, you're very relaxed, serene.
mm.
You feel lighter, you feel freer.
There is something to be said about when you give yourself the space to hear yourself and trust yourself and be guided by that.
Absolutely.
And Dee, that was one of my experiences after our time together in the last session that we were together when it was really just on what does this new year intend for me or what does this look like someone who's such a goal setter and feels the
Mhm.
need to hit the goals and do the things and be so nose down in it. That last session with you gave me such freedom to breathe. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, and that's actually my favorite script. The one that I did with you is the manifestation script because you could think consciously, this is what I want for myself. This is how it's supposed to go. This is in the plan. And then when you go into hypnosis and, I say, okay, in 1, 2, 3, you're going to let whatever comes to you come to you in that alternate state. it may be something completely different than what you had planned for yourself because you're tapping in and connecting with that higher mind, that higher self, and the plan that the universe and your higher
Yeah.
self has for you. So the manifestation script is amazing because it really allows you to dive into what your higher self wants for you.
It's so amazing that you bring this up. So I have, for those of you not watching us on YouTube, I have my little note card here with my little, my intentions for the day, my little spiritual note in the morning. And my spiritual note this morning was when you allow yourself to lean into that inkling
Mm,
and you listen to it, your whole world changes. And I feel that that's exactly what you're tapping into in these short sessions with hypnotherapy.
mhm. Because you may have a goal or a desire, but a lot of the times as humans, it's normal. We make decisions based on
Mm,
fear or based
yes.
on insecurity. So even if we get this, maybe this hint or this idea that our subconscious mind or our higher self is telling us, we go against it because it's, oh, I'm not going to make enough money, or that's not going to work with my schedule, or that, I'm going to fail at that. And we make a decision based off insecurity, based off fear, based on the world, instead of tapping into what we can create and the desires we can go after and what
Oh,
can really happen.
as you are talking about this fear-based thinking that we live in, this fighting and clawing to stay in the same lane we've been in, even if it's no longer serving us, this
Yep.
ball of anxiety, hand raised. It makes me flash to this. I don't know if you remember this when we were last together. You had said to me, Meg, when you started to come to me 2 years ago, you were a ball of anxiety
Hmm.
and you were so fearful about, do we have a kid? Do we not have a kid? What's going on with the business? Can I do this? Can I not? All of these things. And what has progressed within the 2 years, I also think there's power in it's a long game. Like I feel
Yeah.
that we don't have patience. We need it right now. So for the person listening, that was like I was when I first came to see you. What's your guidance to them?
It's going to sound so cliche, but the first thing that came to my head is it's in the journey, not the destination. Because
Oh, preach.
everybody who is coming to see me, of course, is they're confused. They
Hmm.
want answers. We don't always get answers. We don't always know until years pass. So being in that spot, that ball of anxiety comes from not living in the present, living in the future, or living in the past. So I would say most people who are coming to me, they're currently living in the future or past. And I need
Mm,
to get them to live in the present again. And that's where that anxiety and the fear-based thinking starts to fade because they're okay and they have acceptance. After they do the work and they put the work in, acceptance with where they're at and that things are going to happen the way that they're supposed to happen.
ooh, preach. Do you think you need to be have a spiritual connection to do hypnotherapy?
No. I mean, I usually that's a question I ask. I'm like, do you have a higher power? Do you believe in the universe and or a God or, someone that passed away even? Is there anything that you think is larger than yourself in this world? And I've worked with clients who don't have much of a belief, but they are willing to go into hypnosis and tap into the subconscious mind to change their thoughts, patterns, behaviors. And usually by the end they start developing a
I was
connection.
just going to ask you that. Do
Yeah,
you think, for someone who's looking to create a spiritual connection, because it's hard to find, and you and I talked about this on that first episode we did together, finding a connection with something higher than yourself in a way that feels right to you. For someone looking for that, do you think this is a great first step to build that?
absolutely. Hypnotherapy definitely works with spiritual growth.
Hmm.
Expanding your belief system. A lot of people come in maybe with a religion or a belief that they had when they were younger that's no longer serving them. And they want to create a new belief system and a new higher power, and that's perfectly fine.
So when you were talking earlier about the wide variety of people that come to you and what they're looking for on the other end, and you don't truly need to come in with a spiritual connection to feel that. I was talking about you the other night at dinner with a girlfriend of mine and how you've helped me unlock all of these self-sabotaging behaviors that I didn't even fucking realize I had.
Yeah.
And she had shared with me, Meg, I went to hypnotherapy to she was biting her nails.
Yeah.
And she said it completely changed in a short period of time. What are some of the common things that people come to you to look for to get out of outside I know you said anxiety. Is there any sort of common threads that you see with what people are looking for to
So
heal?
yeah, there's two different types of sessions. There's the actual changing a addiction that you
Mm-hmm.
might have, which is, a lot I do a lot of weight loss, a lot of why do I eat the way that I
Yeah.
do, the comfort eating, the emotional eating, the link that my clients have to food. Where did that develop? Where did that come from? And along with that, behaviors of procrastination,
Mhm.
motivation levels if they're low, changing the behaviors or the self-sabotaging thoughts or actions. But then the other type of clients I do is that spiritual growth of,
Mm.
it's not necessarily a habit, but it's or an addiction. It's a thought process. Like, why do I keep beating myself up? Why do
Yeah.
I never feel like I'm good enough? Why do I struggle in personal relationships? Why do I put so much pressure on myself? So
Mm.
there's the actual, like, I've seen a wide variety, client that was terrified of needles and she had to get a surgery. So there's the fears and phobias aspect of the why am I biting my nails? Why am I picking out my eyelashes? Why am I There's those specific habits and ticks that we want to change, but then there's also like the thought process of I really would like that to change.
As you were just talking, it made me flash too. And guys, I'm going to link Dana's website in the show notes so you can click right on it. You have this beautiful graph on your website on the progression that happens to unlocking the reasons why you do the shit you do with
Right.
hypnotherapy versus traditional therapy and just how it unlocks at such a quicker speed. What can you dig into that for us?
Sure. So when we're talking about talk therapy, and I am always for talk therapy, and I've had clients ask me, like, is it good to do in
Mm,
junction with? And I'm like, absolutely. To have a talk therapist and to go to hypnotherapy is a great combination because talk therapy, you're gaining the awareness and you're trying to change thoughts, patterns, behaviors by gaining awareness. But a lot of the times my clients get stuck and that's where they stop in talk
mm,
therapy. I know why I do this and I know that I have to do this, but I just can't make the change. I just
mm,
saw a lady where she was stopping at Starbucks every single day and spending so much money and having so many calories in those drinks, and she knew why, she knew where it came from, she knew what it was serving, the purpose it was serving, and literally just was on autopilot, couldn't stop. And I
mm,
was like, we need to dig into the subconscious mind, and that's where you're not meant to be in hypnotherapy for 6 months to a year. You're meant
mm-hmm.
to come for 3, 6, 9 sessions because you're actually getting to the root cause. And it might not, you might not know where that even came from. You might think that you have awareness, but there's something in there that still we have to change because there's an agreement there. If I
Mm,
do this, it's going to make me feel this way. And you can't seem to change it. If I go and stop at Starbucks and get this drink, it's doing something for me subconsciously, because consciously I know I don't want to do it anymore. But it's obviously still serving a purpose subconsciously. There's an agreement, there's an attachment there. So it's meant to really only be in 6 sessions. Max, I think I've seen people for a couple months.
mm-hmm.
But we see the change, especially with quitting smoking and things like that, within 3 to 6 sessions. Because you're
Wow.
getting to the root, you're getting to where the agreement started.
And it's you telling you, which I think
Yeah,
is even more powerful
yeah.
because we are so quick to when someone else tells us something we're like that, yeah, okay. But when it's you, telling you,
Yeah.
I think there's something powerful about that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And what just came to my mind is I see a lot of clients for trauma. The
Mm.
question a lot of am I going to have to relive my trauma? Like I know where this pattern or this agreement or this, thought process started, but am I going to have to relive my trauma? And the answer always is no.
Yeah.
Your subconscious mind is never going to have you have to relive something that happened to you. Even if it's getting in the root cause, you like I said, I'll take you on a journey. You might remember from the session is being in a forest, but it's getting to the root cause of what needs to change.
What made you want to get into hypnotherapy? What about it intrigued you? Do you remember?
So, I actually do because I have my bachelor's and I wanted to be a therapist. I
Mm.
wanted to be a talk therapist. And I applied and I got in for my master's and I had a 6-month-old at the time and I was a
Hmm.
single mother and I was working full time. So people looked at me, my parents, my friend, so you're going to work 9 to 5, pick up this 6-month-old and then go and do classes for your master's as well with zero help in my household or from a significant partner. And I thought, you know what, maybe I should defer it. And
Mm.
it was absolutely the right thing to
Mm.
do because I had gotten into Reiki at that point, and then I was just introduced to hypnotherapy. And I was like, wow, like this is what I've always wanted to do is help people. And I get a both worlds because I get to do a little bit of talk therapy and then we get to go into hypnosis and the change is so much faster and it's a very rewarding job. It doesn't even feel like a job. Like I get excited for sessions and to see the change in
Oh,
my
I see. I experience that with you. I see it with you now. As you're talking about the journey, it just made me reflect back on. I was just with my best friend from 27 years ago. We met at 13.
Wow.
And what a gift female friendships are, right? It's like the best kind of soul food.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
and she printed out pictures and we were looking at, and we were just talking about the evolution of each other. And I thought to myself, damn, if I could have told that 13-year-old what was in store for her and the beautiful journey that even if you couldn't see it in the moment, it turns out so much better than you believe. Like, what would you tell your 13-year-old self?
Oh man, I was one of those people that had no idea what I wanted to do with my life.
Mm.
Like my sister knew she wanted to work in the medical field since she was a little girl. I had no idea. I went back and forth. I just went to school because my parents told me I had to.
Yeah.
I switched my major, I think 6 times. It took me 6 years to finish. And I just didn't know. I was lost. I was a lost puppy. And I did a lot of different jobs uh, in a lot of different areas. And it took me until I was maybe like late 20s to figure out what I really wanted to do. So I would tell her, like, you don't have to have it all figured out. Like,
Mm.
you're gonna, I don't think that my college degree was wasted or I didn't, you know, I should have known back then exactly what I wanted to do. I think that person at that time wouldn't have been capable to
Yeah.
do what I do now. So I think I had to grow into this person and get into this career at the time I did. So even if you don't know and you feel like you're kind of just like moving through different jobs and different areas of your life and different seasons, it's okay because there's no
Mm.
destination. There's still
Mm.
so much I want to do with this career. And having young children and a baby on the way,
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to have to split my time. And there's still so much that can grow in this profession over the next 40 years.
As you're just talking, it made me flash to the power of doing the inner work. We talk about it, but man, that shit is fucking hard. And as you were just talking about your journey and telling your younger self you don't have to have it all figured out, as you're about to give birth to another baby, to have two little ones, to want to continue to grow this movement, I really see this piece around you, this removal of a lot of the anxiety that comes when we feel that we need to control the outcome on everything and have everything all played out. Where do you think this piece has come from? Like, what inner work do you still do? Or what space do you still create for yourself? Or what rituals do you give yourself so that you can still find your way to that peace?
I'm glad that you mentioned the work because I'm thinking, yeah, I'm in a really great time in my life, but
Yeah.
it takes so much work. Like
Oh,
it takes so much inner work to keep what I have and what I've grown into. So for me, I was in therapy for a really long time, and I'm not in talk therapy anymore, but I do, like you said, I have a morning ritual, and
mm,
I have to do that because my immediate thought process when I wake up is anxiety and like go.
yeah.
You wake up and it's what do I have to do next? So if I don't take the time to stop and I pick my cards and I set my intention and I figure out what God and the universe wants me to
Mm.
do for that day. What's my purpose? I'm all messed up in the head and I still get fearful of the future and not accept where I'm at and I wish things were different and I'm always making a phone call. Like I'm always reaching out to I am in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. So that
Hmm.
makes it a little easier of I have my sponsor, I have my sponsees, I have my network of people.
Yeah.
And whenever I feel jammed up, I used to be a big isolator. I was a big isolator.
I
Like
feel that.
I wouldn't answer my phone. I would shut my phone off. Don't talk to me. I'm in it. I'm in it, guys. People would know when I'm in it. 3 days on my couch with ice cream. That's how I processed. Now, I can't afford to do that. I have to reach out. I have to do my morning ritual. I have to connect with the universe. I have to pray in between hours during the day. And I have to make phone calls when I get jammed up.
God, that is such a beautiful gift that you just gave each and every one of us. This as self isolators. I'm still someone in recovery with that, and it's so interesting that you bring that up because I'm a continued work in progress on that. For instance, there was this thing that was giving me so much anxiety, and I thought to myself, I had this whole narrative in here. Why are you beating yourself up? Don't beat yourself up. You didn't know better. Now you know better. Like it was this whole narrative. It was like there was a party of 10 living up here in
Yes,
my brain.
I know exactly what that's like.
You know what this and you
Yes.
tell yourself, knock it off. I can't knock it off. Like it's just this back and forth. And then Michael and I were in a car together the other day and I just spewed it out to him and he was able to look at it through a completely different lens that gave me such peace.
Mm,
And I thought to myself, man, as uncomfortable as it can be for those of us that are self isolators, there is so much power. And even if it's just asking your partner or your most trusted advisor or someone that you feel comfortable with, hey, talk through this with me. I love that you said that.
make me see the other side because my
Yes.
perception can get so warped on things. Like when I'm in it, my perception is warped, and I need somebody to bring me out of it and have me see all sides. And I beat myself up. So I think my life is this way or because of my choices.
Mm,
I didn't do this right or I didn't do that right. It's always I'm not good enough. I
mm.
didn't do it right. Um, if someone is automatically upset, I'm like, maybe it's me. Like that, I'm internally that person. My ego is turned inward. I always think it's my fault. It's me. I'm never good enough. I'm never going to get what I want. I don't deserve it. So it takes a lot of work to, work on that confidence level and
And
that.
continued. I don't think it ever ends. Would you agree?
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
think it ever
Because I'm almost
ends.
8 years into recovery of doing that's when I started the work, is when I got sober. And I'm almost 8 years in, and it may be harder now than it even was when I first got sober. So it's deeper.
My friend, for someone that is where you and I were 8 years ago, or even this, if they have caught themselves stumbling off their rituals, or they thought to they're thinking to themselves, man, I thought I knew better and now I'm back here. What do I do? For someone that has that party at 10 going on in their brain, like you and I have just talked about, what's your recommendation for them? What would you tell them is just one place to start?
I would say to start small. A
Mm,
lot of the times we look at I have to if I have to do this and I have to do this, I need to go to the gym and I need to eat
yeah.
healthy and we get overwhelmed by all the things we don't think we're doing or what we once were doing and we fell off. And if you do fall off, which I do, some mornings I don't have a chance to do my prayer because my son's in my face and I got a work call and I got to make my lunch and I make sure when I get to work or I have a second or I'm in the car
Mm,
before I walk in the office, I do it. But there's times where you fall off, life gets busy. And I would say start small. Like if you can say, all right, each morning I'm going to read one paragraph out of my book, and that's it. I'm
mm,
just going to start there. And then once that becomes a habit and you automatically do it, okay, maybe then add something else to your practice. But I think a lot of people try to add too much too fast. Then they get burnout,
yep.
they stop. Oh, this isn't working anyway, you know?
I love that the power of the micro step. I always say, if
Yeah.
you can just
Yeah.
make one small promise to yourself and you keep it,
Right.
regardless of what the day throws at you, even if it's just moving your body for 10 minutes, taking the dog for a walk without the earbuds in,
Mm-hmm.
looking on YouTube how to write the book, whatever it is, just even 10 minutes. It it's amazing how it rewires the conversation with yourself.
Yeah, it does. And it's less overwhelming.
Yeah.
You feel good when you checked it off your list, but you did it with intention. It wasn't,
Mm.
oh, I just need to get this done and over with so that this is what people say will make me feel better. You set an intention and you followed through.
I have to tell you, there is something really powerful on that. You are so right. So in the morning, when I set my intention for the day and what I want to accomplish and who I want to be, I've seen such a change when I'm able to look at the bigger picture. So for instance, the
Mm.
other day, it was something about cleaning the damn toilets. And it wasn't about the toilets, it was about showing my husband that keeping a clean house for us was important to me and him. It was more about my marriage and my partner than it was about a damn scrub brush and
Right.
some Clorox.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, there is something powerful about that, my friend.
You're getting down to the motive.
Yet to
What's
the
the
motive.
motive of me doing this right now?
Yeah. God, I love that. My friend, for those of our listeners that want more of you, that are curious about hypnotherapy, do you do it virtual or does it need to be in your office?
I do. I do virtual, I do in person, and I also have a 15-minute free consultation. So say they would just want more information or they want to see if it will work for them. There's nothing too big that you can never bring to me, but we'll just talk for 15 minutes and there's no costs. You just call me up and we'll talk about it and I'll give you some more information before we even get started or you
Mm.
even book anything into place.
God, I love that. I'm gonna link her website below. Check it out. And here's the other shout out I have for hypnotherapy and Dee's work. You can use your HSA.
Yes, you can.
That is a power game. So you don't have to pay out of pocket. Your insurance will cover. You can use your health savings account because this is a form of mental health. And I just think that that's so important.
So important.
Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It was such a great just a laid back discussion.
Kitchen table conversation. Aren't they
Yeah,
the best soul
they're the
food?
best. They're the best.
I always say, in our world that makes you feel that everything needs to be so scripted,
Mm,
there is so much power in just showing up unscripted and seeing where a conversation goes. And thank you for allowing us to do that today.
yeah, and I have such a connection to you as well, my friend. So,
Ditto. I can't wait to be in that room with you soon enough. February, girl. I'm
yes,
about to be in that room with you in under a month. I am a huge believer and advocate in the gifts that you authentically and purposefully put out into the world, and what a gift you've been in my world. And thank you for the courage to continue to do it.
me too. And I love our sessions. So I'm so excited to have you back. They're always powerful and vulnerable and just amazing.
On last, not to set jump, but on our last conversation, you dropped this hypnotherapy next journey. I know you are about to have a baby.
Mhm.
So is there anything that you're working on that you think will come out within the next year, or is it really just to give yourself the peace to enjoy being a mama another time around and see what happens? Where are you?
I'm so hypnotherapy is my passion, and I'm
Mm,
starting to expand more on focusing on young adults and
mhm,
teens, and I see of all age groups, but I really want to get my stuff out there to schools and to, guidance counselors, and I'm kind of expanding now to my network. Because I think it's really important for the teens that were locked down in COVID. They have severe anxiety, eating disorders, social phobia. The pandemic was it was very impactful on the teens and young adults going into college. And so I think my goal before the baby comes or is to really get my work out there to the schools and to young teens and adults.
mm.
That's my
If
next endeavor.
if anybody listening is part of a school system, you have a kid in a school,
Mhm.
connect with Deanna and make the introduction, because I'm a true believer that we need to turn around and help our next generation, especially in the digital fuckery that is
Yes,
our world right now. So
absolutely.
thank you for that.
The
I love you,
comparison,
honey.
I've seen a lot of teens with the comparison of social media of,
Mm,
you know, I want to look like that. And why don't I have pictures like that? Why don't I have purses like that? Why don't I look like this girl?
yeah.
So, yeah, it's I'm excited.
No, I can't wait to see the
Yeah.
impact that you have, my friend.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
check out Deanna's website. Book yourself some hypnotherapy.
Thanks, Meg. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.